Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 15 of What If Naruto Was Born in the Uzumaki clan. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also stay in tune, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Pushed Himself to His Limit over on Anime King 2. So stay tuned for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Raised by the Hyuga clan. So stay tuned for that as well guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last part we left off. Minato and Kushina were charging towards the battlefield as they took on the enemy forces. Minato was relentless and so was Kushina, as the people who were using the Uzumaki as slave, as they started to slaughter them. Kushina used their chains to smash them down until they got trapped. They couldn't even use their jutsus, as Minato couldn't use his Harishin to get out of it. It seems like they forced the Uzumaki to create a seal that could even chop them. As the army was coming towards them, when the army was blown away by pure darkness, and then they saw him. Minato saw the boy that he faced, but then he couldn't help but see that something was familiar about this boy. The boy charging relentlessly and started to slaughter waves of ninjas after ninjas, as the Kumo ninjas were getting scared. When the Akatsuki's came on the field, the Jashin members getting stabbed all over and still walking towards their prey as they slaughter them. The Raikage then made himself be known as he stood on top of the transformed Yujito as he looked at all of his enemies. But Naruto was ready for that as he extended chains from his back that wrapped around Yujito. Black chains. It was then that Kushina noticed it as Naruto ripped off his mask, telling them that his name is Naruto Uzumaki and he will fight for his home. The Raikage stepped forward as his group was being slaughtered. As Naruto stepped forward as well after restraining Yujito, the Raikage could not get her, seeing that Kisame stepped in front of her and so did Hidan. As the rest of them surrounded the Raikage, Minato and Kushina dashed forward to protect their son as well, as they won't let the Raikage harm him. As Naruto just stood there, the Raikage saw that he was surrounded from all angles. Looking at Minato, he told him that this means war, and with that he disappeared with lightning. We then go back to the village as Kushina and Minato didn't get a chance to say anything to Naruto. Going back there, the people were scared as many of the others didn't like Naruto one bit, well, the elders, as they were talking down to him, but Akainu and Nagato stepped forward and sliced off their heads as they wouldn't let no one talk to their friend that way. Despite acting this way, Naruto was still just calm himself. He's too trusting for the Uzumaki clan because he will never raise his tone or his voice against them. But the people then started to call him the new fort, as the last, oldest elder, Hinata, she told him that the recent Uzukage was dead. As she saw something in Naruto's eyes, she called him the fort. The other two main houses of the Uzumakis bowed down to Naruto as well as they started chanting the fort. Sometime after that, they had slaughter. Most of the kids had slaughter the Kumo ninjas in wicked ways. As Naruto gave them a speech as he didn't want them to do that. Even though they shall fight and kill their enemies, he didn't want the Uzumaki clan to go down this way. Akainu was pissed as she hated to see Minato and Kushina here. Before Kushina could relent or say anything else, Naruto arrived, as he told Akeno he would handle it. As he walked off with the both of them following him, as he came to a stop at the mountainside, the moment he stopped, Kushina quickly jumped on her son, squeezing life out of him as she was hugging him as tight as possible, as Minato waited to see Naruto's reaction. So yeah guys, that was basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. Minato watched as, for a second there, Naruto closed his eyes. But it did not last as he stepped away from her. "Son," she said, "your son died a long time ago. The day you abandoned him, Kushina. I owe you a life debt for giving me life, which I fulfill by saving the both of you on the battlefield." The way he spoke, his voice didn't carry any hatred or bitterness in it. It was just a voice that he was given all of this by God, that he had to accept this fate. "You don't understand," she screamed. "I didn't want to leave you." "Then why did you?" he asked. After saying those words, his life seemed to have flashed in front of his eyes. Seeing young child play with their mothers, fathers, mothers bring their child to the festival while he was all alone. He could yell at them, try to inflict the same pain on them that they made him feel, but it won't make him feel better. It just make him feel worse. So he just looked at them with pain, full eyes. Why did I live as a bastard when both of my parents were still alive? Kushina was weeping badly after hearing the pain in his voice. She wanted to hug him so bad, but she saw that Naruto didn't want that, as Minato see that she was holding back herself. Yet there was a difference. When he looked at Kushina, there was a hope of understanding and probably even sympathy. Naruto may not know it himself, but he really did long for a mother. But when he looked at Minato, there was pure disappointment. It was a man's duty to look after their lover and their child. It was a father's duty to protect them from harm from the entire world itself. And Minato knew that he had failed on all counts. After seeing how loyal Naruto was to Uzu, he doubted that Naruto would ever accept the truth why he was abandoned. The second Uzumaki who oversaw the exchange was dead, and after attacking Kumo to save Uzu, Minato doubted that Hiruzen would ever aid him in any matter anymore. Well, at least he can make. He forgive his mother. "It's because of me," said Minato. As Kushina quickly turned and looked at him, she was shocked, but he gave her hopeful eyes for her to just be quiet. He was sacrificing himself. "Why?" Naruto said. "You nearly killed your mother during pregnancy. The doctors warned me that your chakra network was not stable and it will kill her. If she gave birth, I wanted to abort, but she never wanted to give you up. She fought against me, against the Hokage and the Konoha leadership. She endured pain you cannot even imagine and gave you life." Admitted Minato. He could look at his son without fear because it was the truth. But this next part, it wasn't. "The doctors warned us that your power was unstable and it will only spiral out of control as you age. You will become a great threat not just to your mother, but to Konoha itself." Minato lied. Because he knew if his son ever found out the real truth, he will lose faith in the Uzumaki, in the village, and in himself. And Minato cannot allow that after seeing the potential in his son. Naruto can do wonderful things after becoming Uzumaki than he can ever do as a Jonin for Konoha. "So you gave me away," Naruto said sadly. Disappointment clearly in his voice, but there was no hatred, because his dark power was truly unstable and had made many accidents in Uzu, made people wary of him. He could understand the rational side of Minato's decision, but it still hurt worse than any other pain. "I love your mother and my village. I couldn't let them get hurt, so I asked the Hokage, I requested for the Uzumakis to take you away. Your clan was master in Fuinjutsu, and I hope that they would have helped you to control your powers. Kushina begged me not to, but yet I refused." As he lied, with each lie that he told, he died a little bit inside. Because he knew after this he would never see his son, he would never see Kushina, never live alongside the family. he want to be with. I understand. The disappointment vanished from Naruto's eyes and it was replaced by bitter understanding. There was no forgiveness in his eyes, but he understand why everything happened the way it did. As Minato smiled at Kushina, "Protect him," he said. "What will you do now?" Naruto asked, looking at Minato. I have made many mistakes in my life. Most of all, I failed my family. But that does not change that I have loved the both of you and Konoha with all my heart. I won't let either of you suffer from my mistake," he promised. As Naruto was surprised, he understood what the man was going to do. Despite everything, he was still his father, despite how disappointed he was in him. He was going to attack Kumo alone. But Naruto didn't say that out loud. Yes, that was the only choice left for Minato Namikaze. As Naruto could see it in Minato's eyes, this man didn't want to kill him, despite the harm Naruto has done to the village. And Minato didn't want to bring war to Konoha. He wanted to fix things for his family and his home. Not many men could step up and make a decision like that. Family, duty and honor. As Minato stepped forward, and so did Naruto. As the both of them hugged, tears filled Naruto's eyes because he knew this would be the first and last time he ever hugged his father. "I won't let Kumo army harm your people or my own. The Raikage will pay for its mistake," said Minato fiercely as he held back the sob. I want you to promise me something," Minato said, cutting Naruto off. "As a Uzumaki and as my son." As Naruto simply nodded. "I don't know what Konoha did to anger you, but there are good people in the village. Talk to them and try to find a solution because war will only bring misery and pain. Either way, I won't live long enough for that, but I know you'll become a better Kage than I would ever be. And I'm proud of you," said Minato, as he ruffled his son's hair with a big smile on his face, as Naruto couldn't stop the tears from running down his eyes. If only things had been different. "I want you to promise me that you will protect your mother. She has loved you. She has loved you and suffered a lot, for no fault of her own. Make her stay by your side, and by your clan. Promise me," said Minato. I promise," Naruto said. A great burden was lifted from his heart on hearing his son say that. It made his next request much easier, as he whispered something in Naruto's ear. Minato waited for Naruto to respond to him, but he saw Naruto's head nod. As Minato smiled, "I can die in peace now," he said. All his life, he never was able to give Naruto anything. Obito may have gotten his love, but now, he has given Naruto. He would give Naruto his knowledge. As Naruto felt a scroll being pushed into his pocket, "It will help you accomplish your dreams and get stronger. I would like some moments with your mother alone," he said. As they break the hug, Naruto then stopped. As he turned at Minato, Minato smiled, seeing that look in his son's eyes. It was not hatred or anger. It was just a genuine smile. "You're the greatest shinobi I've ever known. And I promise you the world would not forget you. They will remember you, Minato, the loyal." Minato smiled. "Farewell, my son." As Naruto gave him a faint nod. "And you too, father." As Naruto walked off, not looking back, tears streaming down his eyes. 3 days later, he received a report about the battle of the Bloody Hill, where more than 5,000 Kumo ninjas died alongside the third Raikage, and with those ninjas' death, the Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze, his father, also perished. Time skip. It has been a week and couple days, as a scowl was on his face as he was looking at a new building. 2 noble families were laying claim over one of the dead family's wealth, trying to take over that section. Well, those Uzumakis were something indeed. They seal away all of their valuables, all of their monies, their golds, their diamonds, their jutsus, and their ancient sealings in the Great Vault. Some things will need the Sword of the Uzukage to open, and the Blood of Uzumaki and several complex seals, which Naruto learned all of those in the past week. As he knew, as the fourth Uzumaki, he had to be benevolent, honorable, and a brave leader like the ones before him. But in truth, he was far from that. He was a warrior, he was an assassin, he was someone that tread on the battlefield to slaughter his enemies. But his people had put great hope and faith in him, which he would not turn down. The people might love him, but he really hated his job, as he wondered if the previous Uzumaki thought the same. Thankfully, Kumo will not be coming for his people, seeing that most of their armies were murdered, and the rest were either injured or low on morale. The third Raikage and his son A was both dead. Thanks to one, Minato Namikaze, Naruto shivered on imagining the strength of his own father. It finally took the 8 Tails, Jinchuriki, Killer Bee, to kill the Yellow Flash. But in doing so, the 8 Tails sacrificed his life as well. Naruto walked towards the map of the world and put a large red cross over Kumo, one of the great village that was responsible for the suffering of his people was destroyed. It will take decades for Kumo to recover, and by then the other nations will not allow it to rise back to its former glory. He will personally oversee that, and all this had caused him was a father. Minato's loyalty to Konoha and his honor as a ninja, it cost him his life in the end. The both of them were more alike than he thought. He died a hero to his village by destroying the other village that was Konoha's most greatest competitor. But he never got to have his happy family in the end, as Naruto respected his father greatly as a ninja, because in the end, him himself was no different. Kushina was keeping to herself and bearing her grief silently. He was thankful that she did not approach him yet because he didn't know what to do. He promised Minato that he would protect her, but yet, she was Konoha's most powerful weapon. The longer she stays here, the more the people will have to worry about the wrath of Konoha. Now that Minato was dead, Konoha would be in panic. The leadership would want to unite back their powers together. And what better than getting their Jinchuriki back? As Naruto realized that he probably lost himself. He wanted to be remembered as Naruto Uzumaki, but now people remember him as the 4th Uzumaki. Before he could think anything else, the door was slammed open violently, as Akainu stepped inside, her silver hair dancing wildly in the air, her eyes burning with bloody murder. He expected her to punch him, but she didn't. She just stopped and glared at him hard. Nagato told me something, but I want to see if you will confirm it by your own words. So tell me, she said. Did you reinstate Kushina Uzumaki as a citizen of Uzu? Naruto nodded. She smashed her fist into his face, knocking him right back as she grabbed his neck and pushed him up against the wall. Have you lost your goddamn mind, she asked. I gave my word I would protect her, Naruto said, as her grip tightened, choking his neck even more. That woman is Konoha Jinchuriki. That village would burn us all down, she said in a terrified voice. She's also my mother, he said. Her glare softened a bit, but her anger was still there as her grip was still tight around his throat. She abandoned you, said Akainu. You know nothing, he said. She sighed as she removed her hand. It doesn't matter, Naruto. She's a Konoha ninja and she lived her entire life in that village. Do you think she will stand by and watch us burn it down? Are you truly sure her love for you is greater than her loyalty to Konoha, she asked. As Naruto went silent, Akainu looked at him as she saw a shadow of Minato Namikaze in him, like father, like son. The last time your father made a choice, the entire family burned. You made this choice and our entire village would burn. As Akainu noticed his hands were shaking, he was just as confused as all of them. She sighed as she grabbed him, holding her hand, placing it on both of his cheeks. Regardless of your choices, I will fight and die for you. So will Nagato and every last Uzumaki, she said. I don't want any of you to die for me, he said. I will never trust Konoha or its people. After what happened, I can't forget they butchered our people. How they took our clan children hostage. Have you forgotten it all, she asked. I have forgotten nothing, Naruto said. Then, why do you look so defeated? Where is your fire for justice? She waited and she didn't see the fire. It was like he lost something important inside of him, as she could feel his hot breath. They were so close to each other. He moved forward as their lips brushed against each other. It was like a wild moment of passion. As he grabbed her, spinning her around, he devoured her lips hungrily, making her quiver. As she leaned into the kiss as well. Hey, Naruto, there is... The both of them stopped, as Nagato was standing at the door, with an amused look on his face. About time he said that grin. He then had to duck a cheer that came after him. Have you forgotten how to knock, you idiot? Akino yelled, blushing madly. You know, you two, our clan is quite small now. You two should give us some good little children. Granted, they will be as crazy as Akeno, and as brutal as Naruto. Nagato, said Akeno as she unleashed her sword, her entire face blushing red. I'm gonna cut you, she said. As Nagato smiled as he threw a scroll over to Naruto and ran out of the office as she chased after him. As Naruto caught the scroll and smiled, he then touched his lips. Why had he kissed her? Maybe to shut her up, or... He dismissed that thought. This was Akeno, the crazy girl he grew up with. Was he falling for her? No, it was just a reflex action, nothing more, nothing less. He shook his head as he opened the scroll. Hanzo wanted to see him. Time skip. Salamander Hanzo watched her to enter the room without any bodyguards. Yes, the boy didn't fear anyone here, and he chose to have no one protect him, everyone working on rebuilding Uso. As Hanzo saw a bruise on the boy's neck, and his lips were swollen a bit, as Galatea was standing there with a smile on her face. Girls, said Galatea, as she received a sigh from Mifune. Lord Fort, said Hanzo, as Naruto groaned. I already have too many people calling me that. Let's just stick with Naruto, shall we? As he grabbed a seat and sit down in front of the three leaders, Hanzo, the leader of the Hidden Rain, Mifune, the leader of the samurais, and Galatea, the Jonin commander. As they had helped Uzo a lot, helping to regain it, and they were helping with supplies and medical aids. And he was sure that they wanted something out of it, but they have done a lot for him. What are your future plans? As Lord Fort and the Akatsuki leader asked Hanzo. Yes, Kumo is decimated. Your village is not in any danger from that side, said Galatea. I promised the Raikage that I would bring blood and fire to his lands, and I will keep my word, Naruto said. Well, Kumo will not be a problem for anyone, at least for a few decades. Your father made sure of that by killing their army, the Raikage, his son, along with the last Jinchuriki they have. Why did you allow him to go to his death? Minato would have been a powerful ally, said Galatea with a frown. Despite everything, my father would not betray Konoha. Siding with me was not possible for him. He did the best thing in both of our interests, by going out to the honorable death. A heartless move, said Mifune. We both did what we thought was best for our people, Naruto said. The sadness in his voice made them drop the point. Sending your own father to death was hard, even if you did not know and love the man at first. It was still his father. You're going to attack Kumo, said Hanzo, as Naruto nodded. With what army? Kumo may be beaten, but they have 4,000 plus warriors and the daimyo forces. They don't have a leader right now, but if you attack, it will give them a single enemy to unite against, said Galatea. I have 1,000 Uzumaki warriors and nearly 500 Akatsuki forces. If you support me with your samurai, I can win Kumo entirely, Naruto said. Naruto was not surprised when Galatea smashed her fist on the table in anger. Fighting on Kumo's turf against your army that will outnumber us? Are you insane? She asked. I will not allow my samurais to be caught in the war of shinobi. We have already done our point, said Mifune flatly, as both him and Hanzo stared at each other. The Hidden Rain cannot provide you any more aid. We already have the Hidden Stone closing down on us. Or have you forgotten that? I have not, Naruto said. And I will complete the suicide mission and kill the Tishikage for you, Naruto said. I am placing my faith in you, Naruto. Don't make me regret my decision, said Hanzo, looking at Naruto sternly. But Naruto simply nodded. You know I always repay my debts. But while you see war in the traditional sense, I see a game much more powerful than that. Not all wars can be won by swords and blood, even without your aid. I shall win over the entire land of lightning without even one of my soldiers dying. They saw a look in Naruto's eyes, as they knew that he was up to something nasty. Hanzo was aware that Naruto knew that he could not defeat the greater villages by brute force, but he seemed like he was just so confident. He had something planning, something big. Retaking Uzumaki might not have been a part of his plan since he didn't know at first, but this has just benefited him a lot. As Naruto got up from his chair, "You're free to enjoy your hospitality as long as you want," he said. "You're making a dangerous mistake, boy," said Mifune, as Naruto gave them a smile. "When you play the game of war, it's either you die or win," he said as he started to walk away. As he stopped at the door, "Join me and witness the rise of your nation of this world, or continue to live in fear, and fearing your enemy, to bring down absolute destruction on you." And with that he walked away. The next day, the cave he had been summoned to. It was dark and outside the borders of Uzu. "These are our new members," said Kisame with a grin, as Naruto had on his ghoulish mask, as he looked at the creature in front of him, one half white and one half black. Was this thing even human at all? "Hello there, I am Black Zetsu." "And I'm White Zetsu. Pleased to meet you, leader." As Naruto let his dark powers flow. "What is this?" he said. He felt pure darkness from that dark side, but it was something ancient and old and foul about it. "What good are they?" asked Kisame. "Well," said Kisame with a short light grin, "we need an army for a revolution, and they can give us an army." As Naruto saw Zetsu slam his hands together, his gaze then shifted towards the other three newbies. As the man stepped forward and raised his massive sword, his Kiri headband giving him away. "I am Zabuza, Momochi." The other Kiri ninja also raised his sword. "I am Juzo, Biwa." This man had a similar appearance to Zabuza, his body covered in bandages, except his mouth was painted with some red paint around it. He had beady black eyes and short black hair, and he had a broad sword as well. The last member bowed in front of him as she created a sword of ice that caught Naruto's attention. "My name is Yukihaku," she said. He would have said something, but the rocks to the far end of the cave split open. His eyes widened when he saw hundreds or possibly thousands of Zetsu standing beneath the beast-like statue. As he saw a man standing on top of it. "I heard you want to destroy Konoha," the man said, his voice old, but he released a killing intent. This was no ordinary shinobi. "I want to destroy the shinobi world," Naruto said. The man smiled slightly. Then, "We share the same dream." Something was not right, Naruto thought as he narrowed his eyes. Kisame had called him so quickly to near the border of Uzu. Seeing that he didn't want to get his friends involved, he had came here alone. As he released his killing intent, matching the man's up there. "Who are you?" he asked. As Naruto saw a pair of purple ring eyes glare down at him. "I am Uchiha Madara," the man said. Naruto kept his shock in check as he heard those legendary names. The rational part of him was telling him that Madara couldn't be alive, but the power he felt was dangerous. Naruto glanced around as he missed something before. He then noticed it now, Kisame's ruthless eyes. They had the faintest trace of haziness. Genjutsu. He sensed the attack as he spun around and drive his sword right through the duo, White and Black Zetsu's chest. As they screamed as Naruto's eyes turned black. "Release," he said, as the hell flames erupted on the Uzu blade. The creature felt fear as he stepped back, as Naruto lashed into his mind. And what Naruto saw shocked him, as he collapsed on his knees. As he felt a pain in his chest, Madara was behind him, a black rod that he shoved right through Naruto. As Naruto felt his body being paralyzed, but a burst of dark chakra exploded from Naruto. As Madara moved back, Naruto grabbed the black rod. It came from that strange statue as he ripped it out of himself. Zetsu was right. His chakra, it was powerful, foul, but strong just as Hoshirama. Madara thought. As he then looked over to his three other pawns to make their move. The plan will be a success. As Juzo rushed over and slashed towards Naruto's legs. Naruto jumped up in the air as he released Dark Chakra. As the chains came right after it, as they ripped right through Juzo's head, killing him instantly. He felt ice swarming around his legs. Looking down, he then saw Kisame and Zabuza flashing towards him, ready to take off his hands. They were trying to incapacitate him in any matter, and he knew why. But he was no longer the same weak boy he had been a year ago. The two of them eyes widened when he disappeared in thin air. Zabuza watched as Haku crumbled down to the ground. She was knocked out as she had a dart in her neck. Kisame felt the kunai stabbing right into his leg as he yelled, as a dart hit him right in the neck as well. Zabuza was no different as a dart hit him as well as he collapsed down. As Madara watched as the boy came out of nothingness. He had seen the boy move as a true assassin of darkness. Thankfully, he had the Rinnegan and he saw the boy when he cloaked himself in dark chakra. As the wound had healed completely. "You're strong," said Madara, as he looked at the other three that was unconscious. Juzo was dead, and so were the Zetsus who had burned in his flames. Their loss was great, but not unbothered. "And you're a deluded old fool, Madara. I saw what was in Zetsu's mind." As Madara looked at Naruto curiously. "So your powers are indeed true. Regardless, Zetsu was my will. Reborn. And now you know the world I want to create," said Madara, as he didn't even care about his dead comrades. Naruto simply laughed. "You think it's funny," said Madara. "No," said Naruto. "You think the Moon Eye plan will save this world? Putting humanity into an endless sleep will be the right choice? It is a perfect world free of war, suffering, and all pain, where all dreams come true for everyone. Wouldn't you like to live your life with all of your people and your parents beside you, where your village was not destroyed?" asked Madara, but then he coughed as his lungs were in pain. "Damn his old age," Naruto said to himself. He looked at this man through Zetsu's memories. He had seen more about the man than he wished. To see the fearsome Uchiha Madara had turned a delusional old man. It was truly sad. His eyes turned towards the Zetsus who had been burned by the hellfire. A chill went down his spine. They had used Madara. They wanted to bring apocalypse to this world, instead of saving it. No, that monster must never be awakened. The world you desire is not real, Madara. The real world is full of pain. Sometimes I wish it were different. I wish my parents didn't abandon me. I wish my village wasn't attacked. I wish many things didn't have happened," Naruto said with sadness in his voice. "Then you know more than anyone that mankind will never have peace. They will always wage war and inflict suffering on each other. We have to end this everlasting cycle so that peace may come to our race." Naruto shook his head no. Peace must be earned, Madara, not passed on like an heirloom. Each generation must struggle and strive for peace so that the value of it will not be forgotten. War is in your blood, everyone's, but we are creatures who can change if shown the right path. My life was hard and painful, but it taught me many things. It taught me the power of friendship, the power of loyalty, and the power of love, Naruto said. "You speak just like Hoshirama did, and look at the world that he created. Yell, Madara. It is a better world than the one you were born in. The shinobi world is better than the clan war era. It is not perfect now, but it can be improved. And I will dedicate my life to that. There will be suffering and pain, but it will always be better than that diluted dream world that you want." The ear turned cold as Naruto felt a large pressure descended on him. Madara was getting mad, and that was his mistake. Madara felt something rip through his back and rip through his chest as he saw Naruto in front of him disappear. Genjutsu? The real Naruto stood behind Madara with his sword buried right through his back, going through his chest. "Ew," Madara said painfully as he coughed up a lot of blood. "You are nearly 100 years old, Madara. Your mind is corrupted and so is your once powerful body. It is time for you to rest," Naruto whispered, as he twisted his blade and the green flames consumed Madara. But Madara did not suffer, seeing that he was long dead before the green flames consumed his body, turning one of the greatest warriors into nothing but ash. As he jumped down to the ground as the beast's statue vanished, as he looked over at the terrified Zetsus. "Do any of you remember the people that you were once upon a time?" he asked. They looked around confused. "What will you do now? You're free," he said. One of them stepped forward as he kneeled slightly. No village will accept us. We don't know where to go. What good are you and your fellow brothers, Naruto asked. We can spy, heal people and do infiltration. We can fight, but not as good as you, Lord. You can call me Lord Uzumaki, Naruto said, as several of them nodded. Why did you all serve Madara? Did you believe in his moon's eye plan? Naruto asked. The Zetsus looked around as he sensed hesitation in them. Even the one that spoke to him looked around for answers from his brothers. Madara promised us a peaceful world where we can live alongside humans, where we all can live in peace, one said. How many of there are you? 30,000 plus, my lord, White Zetsu said, as Naruto's eyes were a bit widened by that. He had seen from that Black Zetsu's memories. They don't need water or food to survive. They were needed in this world. Even so, he was not Madara. I will give you lands where you can live peacefully, and try my best to let humans live amongst you and accept your kind Naruto promise. The clone stared at him in shock. You're going to spare our life? One of them asked. As long as you serve me and don't harm my people, he said, as murmurs went off. As the leader, well, he seemed that leader, seeing that he was the one talking to Naruto. We shall fight for you, Lord Uzumaki, he said. It was one thing to see a clan kneel in front of him, but to see an entire army. As Naruto pried in their heads and saw, they were just simple-minded. Unlike Black Zetsu, who wanted to revive that monster Kaguya, and he could never allow that to happen. These White Zetsus, they were completely devoted and would follow his wishes. But from seeing all of those memories in the Black Zetsu's head, he knew one thing. He had to kill every last member of the Uchiha clan. Promise me. Promise me, promise me. His father's words rang through his head. And now, he felt the true burden of the promise that he had given to Minato. Time skip. Kisame slowly opened his eyes as he felt a cold breeze as he was lying in a bed with white sheets. There was a bandage around his leg, but strangely he felt no pain. He then remembered being contacted by Juzo and coming to that cave. Juzo said that he could provide fighters to help with the Akatsuki. Juzo was willingly working for the enemy, which was a plant-like creature, and his master was an old man. Then, that creepy old man had confronted him with Zabuza and Haku. He remembered fighting against them all as they tried to restrain him, and then the old man did something to him. Even Zabuza and Haku were lured into the trap by Jizo, who was working for that creepy man. He also remembered fighting against Naruto. Why am I still alive? He said out loud. After remembering how he was forced to betray Naruto, the boy should have killed him. I protect my own, Kisame. There he was, standing on the steps, as he was smiling and relaxed, with his sword strapped on his side. I betrayed you, said Kisame. Not willingly, Naruto said. What happens now? Kisame asked. That is up to you, Kisame. Kisame looked Naruto directly in the eyes. I would still like to be a part of that revolution, he said, making Naruto smile. Then we have work to do. I owe you my life, Kisame said. You are under Genjutsu, said Naruto, and yet you went through great lengths to save my life. If it was I, that honor of yours, it will get you killed one of these days. As Kisame knew, he would have struck down Naruto, he would have pained him, but he would have do it to save his own life. I protect my people, Kisame, and that includes you. In this twisted ninja world, Kisame had grown up and not just anyone. It was himself over everyone, but this kid was just something else. My sword is yours. From this day until my last day, Naruto, Kisame promised. Naruto gave him a helping hand as he rose into his feet. Then let's get to work. Kisame nodded. Moments later, they walked through a long hallway. As Kisame saw dozens of white Zetsus working, he was surprised that old man was actually Uchiha Madara. And Naruto killed him. But the Uzumaki didn't seem proud by the kill. He was not proud of killing such a famed warrior like Madara Uchiha. He was old and withered, with no strength left in his bones. He would have died soon enough. I just made sure he died with the caliber of a shinobi, like him should have died like. Why did he want you in the first place? Asked Kisame. He wanted me to revive him after killing him, in a way where he was born young and in his prime, Naruto said. Madness. That man was nuts, said Kisame. But still, a good thing came out of this. The Zetsus now served Naruto, and there were a lot of them. Naruto did not reveal the fact that Madara possessed the Rinnegan. If the Uchiha was not so old, he would have killed them all, like flies. Because he had those eyes of the legendary Sage of Six Paths. As Naruto knew the true power of those eyes through Zetsu's memories, how the Sage of Six Paths used those eyes to defeat his mother, Kaguya. But such powers are not meant for man, nor were the Bijutsu supposed to be used as weapons of mass destruction by mankind. That was a wish of the Sage of Six Paths, and Naruto intended to uphold it. He dared not reveal to Kisame or anyone else that he had destroyed such a power like the Rinnegan, or that he had killed Yujito, even though she had possessed the Bijou, instead of enslaving her. Because he didn't want to drive forward his revolution in such manner. He wanted a world where people develop their own resource and wits, not with the powers of mass destruction like the Bijous. If Oshirama didn't capture all the Bijous, probably his plan would have worked. It was because of that power the other village became greedy. But for a better world to exist, the Bijous had to vanish. And he had done that by setting the two-tailed cat free, as the cat promised to disappear into a realm that was not ruled by mankind. His last words with Yujito before her brief death was him talking to Monotabe, the Nibi inside of her, as she requested Naruto to set her fellow brothers and sisters free as well, so they can go and live away from man. And he intended to keep that promise, the chosen one. That is what Monotabe called him. The true successor of the sage, one that may not have the same powers but share the same belief for mankind. As they start to approach the gates, Kisame noticed Zabuza and Haku, as they seem unharmed. Another example of Naruto mercy. They know that you're the Akatsuki leader, said Kisame. And that you are my ally, despite being a Kiri shinobi, said Naruto. We should kill them, said Kisame. That suggestion earned Kisame an odd look from Naruto. But much to Kisame's surprise, his fellow Kiri shinobis nodded respectfully to Naruto. Even more surprisingly, Haku stepped forward as she placed her soft hand on his cheeks and planted a kiss on his lips. Zabuza laughed. Even Kisame couldn't help but grin as Naruto's face turned as bright as his red hair, as Haku broke the kiss, and gave him a grateful smile that made him blush even more. He's still a boy, thought Kisame. Thanks for saving us from those people, said Haku. You, an assassin boy. Because you fight like one, said Zabuza. I am, said Naruto. As Zabuza glanced at Haku. As Haku nodded, our village is tearing itself apart under the reign of Mizuki Kaguya, the second Mizukage. He's a madman that has divided our village under a bloody, cruel system, making our brothers fight against brothers. Forced entertainment. The village is falling under many great debts, and there have been talks about a civil war, said Zabuza. As Naruto looked at Kisame, it's true, many in Kiri call him the Mad Beast, because he loved to flay and skin people alive. He's the reason I joined you, so I could bring a change to Kiri, said Kisame, as right now he had trust in Naruto completely. He also gave the order to destroy Uzu, despite many of our people telling him that they should not participate in the order developed by Kumo and the Stone. There are rumors that he was going to butcher, and still is, butcher all of the clans other than the Kaguya clan. We are afraid for our nation and our people, and we want you to help us, requested Haku. The angry Uzumaki inside of him wanted Kiri to burn to ashes for what they did to his clan. But strategically, he had to reform the Bloody Mist into a nation for the new world that he was going to create. And for doing that, he needed something from them. Are there any good leaders amongst this growing rebellion of yours, man or woman with great honor, that desire peace rather than war, Naruto asked? Haku smiled. They are Mei Terumi and Yagura. Both of them are leaders who oftenly suggest that we adopt a friendlier approach to other nations rather than remain isolated. If either of them become the Mizukage, then our nation can be safe, Haku said in a confident tone. Why can't your faction take down the second Mizukage, Naruto asked? It was Kisame who answered. He's too bloody strong. He has the backing of the Kaguya clan behind him. many hardcore ninjas who like his mad rule, and several other factions that liked the profit off of his nation and his system. On our side we have ninjas from lower clans, civilian fighters and common ninja who die every day. Due to Mizuki, bloodlust, said Kisame bitterly. Zabuza stepped forward. There are tales of you, the undefeated Akatsuki leader, the Dark Leader, and many other names. You have never been defeated by any army on the battlefield, and you have defeated us like flies. Will you help us, Zabuza asked. Only if you give me your two Jinjulti and your tail, beast, Naruto said. As they were shocked to hear that, but they saw he was not joking. You're asking us to give away our village most powerful weapons, Haku said. Yes. I aim to capture all the Bijus. If Kiri wants Akatsuki's help, then the Bijus are the price. Or you can fight bloody civil war for decades and destroy each other. As he turned to walk away, but he didn't stop. Ask yourself, are two beasts worth the destruction of your nation? As he walked inside, a smile was on his face. Two Bijus had already been set free, one by him and one by his father. And he would see that the rest of them be set free as well. But guys, will be in this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends on your social media platform. But for now, I'm out. See you guys soon. Peace.